plaisir d'être ici. Est-ce qu'on se lève? On reste ici?
Je reste ici.
On reste ici. Alors, ça nous fait plaisir, ça nous fait grand plaisir d'être ici aujourd'hui, participer à votre journée, la dualité linguistique. Et je ne sais pas si c'est une surprise pour vous, mais le Vietnam, d'où nous venons, fait partie de la francophonie depuis 70 et même en 97, je pense qu'on a été l'hôte d'une grande réunion de la francophonie. Alors, c'est parce que notre pays était une colonie de la France pendant un siècle. Et les Français sont arrivés au XVIIe siècle et les prêtres sont arrivés avec le catéchisme, et pour pouvoir enseigner le catéchisme aux Vietnamiens, ils ont commencé à enseigner le français. Et après, quand on est devenu une colonie française, when we became a French colony, all the school programs were in French. So my parents went to school in French completely. Public servants, everything was done in French. So there was a parallel language in Vietnamese that the priest transformed the Chinese characters into a French alphabet. It's Vietnamese, but half French. So a lot of Vietnamese know both systems. And when independence came, the country was divided into two in 1954, and the southern part remained very French. So I grew up in a generation where there was still French schools. I was one of the last to go to French school in Saigon. I went to French school for 6 years. Et à ma génération, les Américains étaient arrivés au Vietnam, donc la plupart des écoles avaient l'anglais comme deuxième langue. Alors mon mari a pris l'anglais comme deuxième langue. Alors son français n'est pas aussi fort que le mien, parce que moi j'étais la dernière dans une école française au Vietnam. Et comme vous savez peut-être qu'au sud du Vietnam c'était non communiste et au nord c'était communiste. So there's been a war for many years. And the north was communist and supported by China and Soviet Union, and the south was supported by the Americans. And in '73, the Americans signed an agreement with China, so they left Vietnam, and 2 years later in '75, the north conquered the south. And many southern Vietnamese were former refugees from the north, so we have experienced the brutality of the system. So on April 24th, there was an exodus. Thousands and thousands of people left by boat. And the following 10 years, hundreds of thousands more people left. And maybe about 1 million persons died at sea. Canada welcomed 60,000 Vietnamese. It was a huge, huge sponsorship program. Donc le Canada vraiment a fait sa part, et le Canada a eu une médaille pour ce geste humanitaire. Et je vais laisser Hung continuer à parler parce que lui est parti vraiment en bateau. Moi, j'ai parti en hélicoptère. So I would let Hung talk about his experience leaving the country in 1975. He was 70 years old and he just jumped on the boat. So I'll let him talk about it. And I have here pictures of the boat. The first one is the one he jumped on, and later he was transferred to a second one. So I'm just going to let you have a look at the picture, and maybe you can show it on the screen.
Yeah, so I was 17 when the communists took over the South Vietnam, and at that time I was young. I just wanted to know what the communists looked like, so I went out and ride my bicycle, check out the communists, and probably fate decided I went to the Navy base at that time for some reason, whatever. So I went to the Navy base, and suddenly there's a soldier, a South Vietnamese soldier called me, "Kid, why don't you come here and help me to get some part to fix a boat, and then we can leave it together." So that the boat that we fixed, it was in the Navy base, and it was like in repair mode. And so I drove him around. I used motorcycles around there, and I drove him around to get the part, and there was something like 20 of the soldier trying to fixing the boat. So around 2 or 3 hours later, we managed to fix the boat. And then at that point, he said, "Kid, why don't you come with us?" the American already telephone or telegraph, I can't remember what exactly, maybe just using some communication device, say that any Navy, South Vietnamese Navy can get out of the of Vietnam, gonna meet them at a certain location, and from there they're gonna lead us to Philippines. So we managed to do that. We managed to get the boat out, but the boat wasn't working very well. The steering wheel wasn't working, so we have to have a human chains that have the instruction from the bridge down on the way to the bottom of the boat to steer the boat like 2 degrees to the left, 2 degrees to the right, and that's all the human chains. And we managed to do that. We managed to get the broken ship, got out of the river, and it was on a river. Get out at the river and get out into the ocean sea, and managed to steer it for another 200 kilometers to get into the international water. And at that point become easier because there's a lot of other ships that came to the same rendezvous point, and then we transfer the refugee, and that the pictures of the ship, that the pictures of the transfer of the refugee from our broken ship to a better ship. And from there we went to 7 days trip, but on a much better ship this time, to Philippines. And only one problem, slight problem with Philippines. When we arrived at Philippines, back then Philippines only recognized the communist Vietnam as the official power in Vietnam, and they say that now we're going to send you all back to Vietnam. but then the U.S. got some trick in their hand. They said, no, this boat is ours. So this boat, no, we just loan it to Vietnam, South Vietnam, and then now we come back to it become our property now. So these people are actually on U.S. property. So the U.S. came over, they put their flag on, and they raised the flag, the U.S. flag, on those ships, and it become U.S. property. So then with that, they can get on of the boat into the U.S. and U.S. Navy base in Philippines. And from there, we moved from the refugee camp to another refugee camp along the Pacific Ocean, like Guam, Wake. And I spoke back then I spoke some English, so I volunteered to work as the interpreter for the refugee. And it was a great experience, like a young kid, 17 years old, and helping your fellow countrymen on the way. And eventually I landed in California, and I got contact with my sister who lived in Quebec City. And then I got the paperwork done with the Canadian government, and I flew directly from California to Montreal and then Quebec City. Back then I didn't know any French at all, like my second language. My first language in school was Vietnamese, and my second language was English, so I knew some English but no French. And I couldn't apply for the university because it was too late. I arrived here, I think, the 2nd of July, one day after the Canada Day. It was too late to apply for university. So my sister just told me, why don't you just go to go to Chicoutimi and study French, and just for the fun of it. Back then I didn't know that Canada is a bilingual country. I didn't know that. So I just, okay, why not? Just learn a new language, it's fun. So I did that. And so I went to Chicoutimi for, I think it's around 4 months from July. No, maybe more than that, maybe 5 months to study French. And it actually, now think about it, a great place to learn French because you immerse in an environment. There's nobody there who can speak English, no Vietnamese, of course. And so you go out and like we just the first or second day we barely speak any language at all, any French word at all. But we managed to repeat whatever we learned from the class, and it was a great experience. And because of that, I got the base in French. And because of that, even though that I went to English university and all of this year working in English environment, I'm in technology, so I said mostly in English, I still managed to be able to get my my French language profile CCC because of that. Like it actually, and I have no problem speaking French, not fluently, but I feel very comfortable speaking French. So I think to learn a language like French, English, or whatever, it's best to immerse it in the environment. And that show in my song Merci Québec too, like the only experience, whiskey, and all of the culture and things like that. So it's a great experience.
Je vais vous parler un petit peu de mon expérience. Je vais laisser vous parler en premier parce qu'il est un vrai boat people, or boat person. Moi, mon père était journaliste. Il a l'expérience d'être le premier journaliste bilingue français-anglais au Vietnam. Parce que dans les années 40-50, les Vietnamiens intellectuels, c'était tous des francophones. Lui, il avait fait ses études primaires, secondaires en français. Il avait fait le choix d'aller étudier à Londres en anglais. Il a fait des études en économie et en sciences politiques à Londres et après ça en Suisse. Alors, il était très connu au Vietnam parce que c'était le premier Vietnamien journaliste qui parlait anglais et français en même temps. Alors, il servait d'interprète au président, il servait d'interprète aux conférences, il écrivait dans les journaux anglais et français. Et il était très anticommuniste, très nationaliste. Alors, en 1975, il fallait absolument qu'on parte. Il n'y avait pas de choix, mais comme il était journaliste, il avait été aidé par des journalistes allemands. So a team of German journalists told us that we could go with them, and that was 1 week before the fall of Saigon, and we were not allowed to leave. We had no visa. So they took us in a van, no windows, to the airport, to their journalist base, and they hid us there. And the next day, they put it on their helicopter, journalist helicopter, and flew us to Thailand. Et de Thaïlande, on a pu aller en France parce qu'on avait de la famille en France. Et en France, on a pu contacter nos oncles au Canada. Ils nous ont dit, venez au Canada, c'est un très beau pays, une très belle vie. Et on a réfléchi et mon père a décidé d'amener toute la famille immigrée au Canada, à Montréal. On avait aussi le choix des États-Unis, and I'm so glad we came to Canada and to Quebec, and we could remain bilingual because otherwise I would have lost all my French, for sure. Alors, on est arrivé à Mirabel, à Montréal, le 23 août 1975, et le lendemain, c'était ma fête. Alors, the customs officer said, "Welcome to Canada." And I said, my God, this is such a great country. Even customs officers are so nice, and they said, welcome to Canada. And when we got out of the airport, I mean, everything was so beautiful, so green, so clean. I mean, it was summer, so just beautiful. So we went to live with my uncle in Montreal. Et on avait eu la chance, on était à un bloc du lycée français, Collège Marie de France à Montréal. C'est le même système qu'on avait dans les écoles au Vietnam. Et ma mère est allée m'inscrire. Elle a commencé à parler à la directrice. So she told the story that we're refugees from Vietnam. We just arrived. And lo and behold, she said, would you like a job here? So she got offered a job right the first day. Elle est devenue surveillante des écoles de la classe primaire. Et moi, comme enfant d'employé, je n'avais même pas à payer les frais. So I did my 2 years of CEGEP equivalent there, and then I went to University of McGill. I had no English. My father said, you live in Canada, you have to speak English. Just jump. I said, I don't know any English. He said, just go. So I went. I took a few courses in English, and someone I went, and the first semester, September to December, was a disaster because I took political science. You're supposed to read and write really well. So really, it was very, very intensive. But by January, I managed to write my essays in English. So I completed my degree in English at McGill. And when I started to work, Hung was already in Ottawa, so he told us that I could get a job in Ottawa. So I did a competition and won a job for the Public Service Commission at entry level. Et je suis tellement contente d'être à Ottawa, de pouvoir travailler en français, de pouvoir trouver des journaux et des magazines en français, de ne pas perdre mon français. On a eu vraiment la chance d'être accueillis dans un pays où on a la démocratie, on a la paix. Et moi, je suis dans une ville où on peut parler deux langues. We are very, very grateful to be in Canada, to have had such a good, warm welcome. And this April 30th was our 40th Year Anniversary in Canada. Et on a pensé écrire 2 chansons pour remercier le Canada et remercier le Québec. Alors, oser, je ne suis vraiment pas chanteuse. On a écrit les chansons, on a osé chanter.
Please join us if you can.
Precious land, my new country, I vow to defend you till I die. Oh, terre précieuse, mon beau pays, je te défendrai toute ma vie.
In the journey to freedom across the world, I have found Canada, opportunity, diversity, peaceful home, my new country. You have given me a rose field, freedom of God, so just land of democracy, rights and equality, doors open to me from sea to sea. Oh Canada, I have lost a country, I have lost a home, but in Canada, land of orange, snowy mountain, I found blossom in the rainbow of color. One bed of golden maple, swung in blue linen, simmering under the sun. Thank you, Canada, merci Canada. I'm in love with your majestic nature and beauty. Oh,
Precious land, my new country, I vow to defend you till I die. Oh, terre précieuse, mon beau pays, je te défendrai toute ma vie.
in the journey to freedom across the world, I have found Canada, an opportunity, diversity, peaceful, my new country. You have given me a living freedom of God, so just land song Merci Québec, Terre d'accueil. We wrote this song because Quebec was for both of us, we both landed in Montreal when we came to Canada, and we leave our first many years in Quebec before coming to Ottawa. Merci Québec, il a 40 ans perdu santé. J'ai atterri à Montréal je n'ai pas débarqué comme Polo sur les berges du Saint-Laurent. Mais là j'ai joie à faire la grande traversée de l'océan. Même joie qu'avec moi nous réfugiés ont ressenti en arrivant au Québec de compenser nos cris. Merci Québec, terre d'accueil, terre de l'avenir. Merci gens du pays, merci de m'avoir accueilli. Merci Vignon de m'avoir laissé parler d'amour. Merci pour cette grande aventure du cœur, cet amour autour. Mes premiers mots français, mon premier amour, ainsi continue au vieux Québec. J'ai je me souviens, ma belle province, ma terre d'accueil, pays de chanteurs, de poètes, de merveilleux conteurs. Une merveille partagée de cœur et de couleurs. Ton histoire, tes traditions, tes fraises. Le monde, ton grand cœur, que le pouvoir de l'Europe et l'Amérique, patrimoine nous dit. La 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 Merci Québec, ma belle province, ma terre d'accueil. À Montréal, viens d'écrire de syllabes. De l'oratoire, c'est ce cher éclat, les mosquées. Il va nourrir de ton ouverture d'esprit.
souviens, mes étés à mon cheveux dans le vent. Mes printemps au vieux bourreau de liberté, entouré de visages de mon hanté, mais je donne mon les saisons scintillantes comme des étoiles le soir. Et quand venait la nuit, je chantais sur le blaze blondie. Mon pays, ce n'est pas un pays, c'est l'hiver. Merci Québec, terre d'accueil, terre de l'avenir. Merci gens du pays, merci de m'avoir accueilli. Merci Géovignon de m'avoir laissé aller là. Merci pour cette grande aventure du cœur, c'est à mon tour. Merci Géovignon de m'avoir laissé parler là. Merci pour cette grande aventure du cœur, c'est à mon tour. Merci pour cette grande aventure du cœur, c'est à mon tour.
Merci beaucoup.
Mais merci à vous deux. J'ai l'impression que vos esprits sont incroyables, d'avoir partagé non seulement vos histoires, mais d'avoir osé de chanter et de performer les deux chansons. C'est un cadeau pour nous tous, c'est sûr. Many of us were getting quite emotional in the room, and I feel it coming on me again, but I think you've just wrapped the country in a huge hug and reminded us not only about the incredible opportunities that all cultures offer, and learning another language, a third language, a fourth language, l'opportunité de parler et d'apprendre l'anglais et le français, et what Canada means. So thank you.
Thank you.
So we haven't scripted this, I'm very sorry. But just in recognition, alors pour vous dire merci, vraiment merci mille fois d'avoir partagé vos expériences et de célébrer avec nous aujourd'hui. Juste un petit quelque chose pour vous dire merci.
C'est vraiment une
Merci.
surprise. Merci beaucoup.
C'est
Thank you
plaisir.
very
Merci
much.
beaucoup.